Hello creative friends, thanks for joining me today on my YouTube channel. Today we will have some art fun, and without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and swatch this Artistro watercolor set. Let's take that off, and it comes with its own swatch sheet, which is nice. Hopefully it's all in the same order, it looks like it is, that the pans are in. So I'm going to move this aside, and I will take the first, let me actually put this underneath so I don't get the bottom dirty or greasy. And I will move the pans over here. I'll use this is Nick Pro. It's just, I got it off Amazon. I really like the Nick Pro brand. They're very nice. They got a nice spring to them. They're not, they don't fray. I haven't had a problem with fraying on this set. The point still holds even when it's dry. So I really am pleased with it, but sometimes you can look out with a kind of no-name brand. But let's try the first one here. And I should probably pre-wet these a little bit, I guess, because they're taking a little bit of time to do that. Okay, let's do this. And I'll go from left to right. Oh, isn't that vibrant? Look how vibrant that is. Very vibrant, very nice. I'm going to wet this a little bit more and bring some of that paint down with me. Let me get a brush a little bit wetter and bring some of that down with me. Keep that wet as I go along. And it goes from a deep vibrant color right to nice pale. You could see you could use this for sunsets. Look at that. How nice that is. Okay, so that's the orange. I think I am going to give these just a little drop just to activate them. They are quite soft, so I don't think you need a heck of a lot of reactivating. You can do it with your brush. It's not a big issue, but I think this might help just speed things up a little bit. Now, of course, these pans are not very, there's a lot of paint in them. If you look at the, the size of the pan, you know, width-wise, but there's not a lot when you go deep. Okay, this one is the deep golden yellow. Look at that. Beautiful color. I actually have a daylily in the garden that's blooming right now. It's one of my favorite daylilies, and it's pretty much this color. It is a really bright, I call it like a school bus yellow, even though school buses are orange in the US. But look at that beautiful color. Very vibrant. I'm finding these very vibrant. This is yellow ochre. So this one's going to be, let me see if I can get a little more paint on that. I think I put too much water on that. I think this can go a little darker. I hit the pool of water from that drop I put in. No, not really. All right, I guess that's it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead back and kind of just follow that all the way down. I realize I'm touching the swatch page with my thumb. It's probably greasy. Greasy and dirty. It's very humid today. But there's a yellow ochre. Okay, let's do the deep yellow. I have to keep an eye on my camera because I'm always going off off view. I don't know why. I can't see it with my attachment set up. It doesn't allow the viewfinder to bend up at a 90-degree angle like it's supposed to do. The camera's set up to do that, but I can't do it with the attachment I have for the stand I'm using. So unfortunately, I often go off camera when I'm doing swatching or demos, and I don't even know I'm doing it until later, till I review it or edit it. When I'm outside, I absolutely can't see because it's so sunny. This one is brilliant yellow, and boy is it. Look at that. Brilliant yellow. These are so very vibrant. I'm very pleased with these. Now, I've never heard of this brand before. Here is lemon yellow. You could almost call this like a fluorescent yellow. I know they do give you the pigments in these, I believe. I'm going to find out what this one is, because this one looks like a brighter than a regular lemon yellow. Looks almost fluorescent. You can't see it probably on camera. Okay, let's move on. They have a funny layout here with these. They kind of are going, I guess they're going like down, up, down, up. I wouldn't follow this row quite with turquoise, but since turquoise is one of my favorite colors, we're going to go with it. Look how deep that is. That is a nice deep. Wow. This one almost looks viridian. I can bet this is staining. This one's got to be staining. I'm going to just get a little more water on that so I can, oh yeah, I can tell it's staining. But hey, you know, see if I can get that even lighter. There we go. Pull some of that down. Okay, like that. That's all I want. I'm trying to stay in the lines. I'm very OCD about that. All right, now we're following it with a permanent red. So explain that logic to me, because that's not how I would organize the palette. However, it is what it is, and this is the way they have it swatching out. You know, I can always make my own swatch sheet if I want, but, and I usually do with paints, but this is such a nice paper. This is one of the few sets I've actually seen or worked with that has actual watercolor paper that is of good quality. Most of these kinds of sets, they give you a paper that's like, it's like basic watercolor paper. It is not always 100% cotton. Now this one's magenta. I got scared for a second because the darkest section of it looked just like the one before, but this is definitely magenta. You see how I'm holding my card slightly sideways. I'm holding it up so the water flows in that direction. Gravity pulls it in that direction. And that's what you want to do anytime you're making a wash, so that the water flows on one section and it doesn't lay flat. Okay, that's the magenta. Now we have a deep carmine. See what that one's going to be. Oh, that's nice. That almost looks like a cadmium. There is a lot of blue in this one. Take that with a grain of salt, because I'm supposedly colorblind in the blue range, so if I'm picking this up as blue and you're looking at this saying, what is she seeing? Why is she seeing blue in this? I don't see any blue. That's why. Doesn't seem to bother my art, but I'll tell you, when a professor told me that one day, he was playing around with those, you know, those dot things, those dot tests. Now this is brilliant red. This is more like a cadmium, but again, this is leaning toward orange. I can see that. But everyone in the class was like, yeah, I see the number. Yeah, we see the numbers. It's like, well, they use these to test people. And I'm looking at it thinking, what the heck? What the heck? And I thought, I had just gone to the restroom, right? We were taking a break. We were closing down from doing an actual painting session, and we were going to sit down. He was going to give us a little lecture in the front of the class. That's brilliant red. This one is vermilion. So I ran to the bathroom. I took 2 seconds to run to the bathroom, and I come back. Everybody's in their seat, and he's already got the book open, and he's showing us the tests. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, he's just playing, you know, because he's going to make an example of me because I wasn't here right at the start of the talk. And, you know, that's kind of rude, but I had to go. And I took advantage of the little break there. And I thought, oh, he's just playing with me because, you know. And so I go up later on and I'm looking at the book. And he's like, well, what are you looking at? And I told him, I said, well, are you kidding me? Is this real? And he says, you can't see that? I said, no, I don't see it at all. I saw the dots, but they all looked the same. There was no differentiation. And I honestly was almost in tears when he seriously said, no, we weren't kidding with you. This is an actual test. Of course, nobody else was around. Thank God they'd left. Or they weren't hovering around when I was looking at that. They were looking at other things. And, you know, that's how I found out. Imagine going to take art classes and finding out you're colorblind. Yeah. Okay, so that's leaf green. That's a very bright color. These others look bright too. This one is, it says peak green. So I guess like the peak of summer, the leaves are at their peak. P-E-A-K, it's spelled. That is a bright emerald green, kind of almost an emerald green, not quite. It's got a little sapness to it there. Sappiness, if you can call it that. This one seems like I bet it would be a staining color too. There's nothing wrong with staining colors as long as when you're working with them you know that's what they are, so you don't expect to do any lifting. All right, what do we have next? Deep olive green. Let's see what that one is. So far I like these paints, and it does feel like after I've pre-wet these, it's similar to what people say about the Ganze Tambi sets, that they are a cross between watercolor and gouache, or they feel like it. I'm not saying that the manufacturer intends it to be that way, but they feel like a cross between. If I use this very concentrated, I could see it might be a little on the opaque side, more than a watercolor would. Here comes deep green. I'm glad they give you so many greens in this set, because I do like to do landscapes. Oh, this is like a fir green. How lovely. Look at that. Again, I'm guessing another staining color. This one almost hints of granulation. Almost in that very dark part right there. Not so in the light part, but the dark part. Look at that. Very nice. I'm very pleased with this set. Wow. Here comes Viridian. We're going to get more blue in this now. That's almost like an emerald green to me. The Viridian. Oh, I can tell I am going to have so much fun with this. Unfortunately, it's not lending itself to working in plein air. It's not a set you would take out with you, or even maybe a set that you would take if you're traveling, you're going on vacation. Let's say you stay at a cabin somewhere. Here comes Cobalt Turquoise, one of my favorites. Not something that you would take with you even if you stayed at a cabin somewhere, because you might want to take these outside, and I can see they might be a little bit cumbersome, especially this set. This is the 48 set. I did get this on a special. I'm not a Prime member. I'm not an Amazon Prime member, but they did happen to discount this on one of the tail ends of a Prime session, either earlier or before. The cobalt turquoise smacks a little bit of too much white. It seems there's that opaqueness to it. Here's a blue-green. Now we're getting into some of my really favorite colors. This is almost like, oh, some of the other paints have an ocean blue. Am I thinking Daniel Smith? Somebody's got an ocean blue. Sketches and Scrubs channel. She loves the ocean blue color, and this is similar to it. It feels similar. Now, unfortunately, my page is bending a little. I don't want to put it on a flat surface just yet. Let me see if I can grab something here and put it on a block of wood. I do have wood here. Put it on a block of wood to keep it up. Well, tilt it a little bit. All right, now our next one is French Ultramarine. This looks very opaque in the pan. Wow, I put a little too much on there. Whoops. That is very, that almost looks like a cobalt. I'm not seeing French Ultramarine, well, I'm not seeing, every company has their different version of these things, you know. It's the same as Payne's Gray. If you've worked with Payne's Gray, you know some companies, their formula tends toward black or gray, and other companies tend toward a bluish color. I happen to like the Turner's Payne's Gray because it's got a little bit of the bluish in it, that kind of midnight blue. Very nice. Okay, this is ultramarine. It definitely looks ultramarine. Let me get some more of that on there. I think I didn't hit that wet spot. Oh, there it is. Didn't hit the wet spot. Oh, look at that. That's quite purple, which is okay. You know, all these colors are different. I don't know if these are single pigment colors. I bet they're not. Not all of them. Maybe some are. These are beautiful. My goodness, look at that. Oh, yeah. I think I'm going to have to change my battery after this. Here comes Prussian blue. In other words, I don't think I'm going to make it to the second set of 24 here. Oh, that is a beautiful color. Prussian is one of my favorites anyway. It's just so nice. Just so lovely. Such a deep color. It is staining for sure. But look at that. Oh, yeah. Oh, I am going to have some fun with this. These are vibrant. I am very, very pleased with these. The thing I complained about, I guess, in my unboxing about the Ganza-Tambi sets is that whereas these have some logic to the colors, they're all over the place. They'll have like a mauve in the set, which I guess is their curated, you know, sets, and I get that, but I can't buy 20 sets just to get a full range of basic colors. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather have these basic kind of colors and mix my own, even though it's a nice surprise to have some of those convenience colors. They are very beautiful, and they have some lovely mixtures. This one is phthalo blue. That looks a little gray to me, like not quite muddy, but there's a little grayness to it. Looks like it's granulating there. And here we have light olive green. Am I still in the painting? I want to make sure I am. Oh, I'm sorry if I missed you on that last one with the turquoise. Ugh. See, I'm indoors and I still missed it. I have to keep checking my screen, which is very annoying. But I would rather not spend my budget on camera equipment since I am not making money off my YouTube channel. I used to be a Jackson's affiliate, which I really loved. While they were still in England and not in the US, I was a Jackson's affiliate. All of a sudden they decided to forego YouTube creators and go only with Instagram. I guess they make more money off the Instagram referrals. But what can I say? I did send some people their way, and I thank you viewers who have purchased from them off my links. I'm sure they don't work anymore. I certainly don't get a benefit from them anymore. But look at these beautiful colors. I'm going to bring them closer so you can see. And I think I need to change my... Well, maybe I'll keep going. I actually have to let this dry. So I'll be right back. Alright, so let's see if I can do this part. That's still a little wet, so I have to be careful. The white, I'm still going to go ahead and do the white. I'll go over the line a little so we can see. It is a little bit opaque. I can see that there on that top part. This one I'm not being too careful with because it's white. Okay, next we have deep black. Ooh. You know, I hate doing the black right away because that, I almost want to skip that. Let me skip that and go to lunar blue. Make sure I'm skipping it on here too, because if I do it, you know what I mean? Here's lunar blue. Well, that looks like, I guess it's lunar blue. It almost looks like a Payne's gray. I was just talking about the Payne's gray, and some brands will have a dark black grayish one. Others will have more of a blue. I don't know if I mentioned, I happen to like the Turner's Payne's gray. It's got that bluish to it. It's a very nice color. This is almost like a Payne's gray. Okay, so next one, we're getting into the golds here, the silvers and golds. I'm going to do this a little out of order because I don't want to contaminate the dark ones with the lights. So here's metallic silver. And we'll see how metallic these actually dry. It seems metallic when it's going on. I don't know how, not very, see I'm going over the line, not very opaque. Honestly, I never held too much of, I don't know, faith in watercolor metallics. Not really. I'm going to skip to the gold. So I'm skipping all over here. Sorry about that. But for the sake of not contaminating the paint, if you really, in my opinion, if you really want a gold or metallic highlight in your paint, use acrylic. Then it becomes mixed media. So, I mean, big disaster, so who cares? If you're adding gold to watercolor anyway, it's not really watercolor, because there has to be some kind of metallic pigment in it that would not really, you know, qualify it as watercolor. But yeah, use this is of course metallic copper. That was gold. Use acrylic if you're going to do that. If you're going to highlight or add some bits of metallic to your paintings. Well, we'll see how these look. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I'm not holding my breath on them. Okay, I'm going to skip around and come back to that deep black. So we'll go on to the next one, which is burnt umber. I happen to like browns. I like browns. A lot of people just say, eh, mud. I like browns because I do landscapes. I like to do landscapes. I need brown for trees, brown for animals. And if you do portraits, browns for skin tones. Wow, I really am pleased with this set. This is, and it's got, you know, it's got a nice mix of every color that you would really need in this 48 set. That's really strong. That's really opaque. Okay, this one's the sepia. So let me get a little more water in here and draw that down. I got a little, looks like a little granulation going on, which is nice. So you can see the burnt umber tends toward a reddish, almost like a red oxide. It's got that reddish to it. Raw umber is next. And I did pre-wet these cells. Now the bottom half of this tray does not come out. It's stuck in there, which is okay. I mean, it's just got these cardboard dividers, and that it works fine. And it doesn't really bother me that much. It's a little deeper as far as the other, the top tray. Top tray is just a shallow tray. This one is a very deep tray because it holds both trays, obviously, in storage. This is the raw umber. That tends toward a greenish. It's got a greenish tinge to it. Here's a Payne's Gray. Let's be surprised and see what they've got. It looks a little blue. That is dark, dark, dark. Wow, look at that. So goes my plan of not contaminating the colors by going with the very dark ones, because I've got some light blues coming up here, which again, the only thing about this is that's just a strange layout. I guess they put those blues there because they have some white in them, I can see. Looks like they've got white. So that is totally gray. I don't see a whole lot of blue in it. Maybe I would say a little violet. A little tends toward a little violet. Here comes gray. That's a little confusing to me, why there's a gray in here. I don't know. I almost would think if you've got black, why gray? But there's some logic, I guess. I don't know what I would rather have instead. You know? But it is what it is. It's okay. You can use these to darken colors. Here's a rose madder. Now here's some logic that doesn't make sense. This is almost like what I'm talking about with the Gansai Tanbai sets. They'll have a gray right next to it. Rose madder. This has very much whiteness to it. It doesn't seem like your typical watercolor rose madder. And again, this may be because I don't know if it's a Japanese set or just a Japanesque type set. Here's Quin Violet. Now we're getting some that I love again. Quinacridones are beautiful. Can you imagine painting in like the 1940s before they had quinacridones? I don't know when they came into play. I don't want to go too recent. So I want to go way back, like 1940s. And you would get a paint set, but it doesn't have quinacridones in it. How can you live without quinacridone gold? I don't know. Sketches and Scrubs would agree with me on that. I wish I knew her name. I hate calling her Sketches and Scrubs because that's not her name. But, okay, this one is quinacridone magenta. Here's one of my favorite. This is like the I always hark back to the Crayola colors, you know. from my childhood. This is like the Crayola Red Violet. Oh, look at that. Gee. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Beautiful color. Oh, staining for sure. But beautiful. And again, staining's not bad. You just have to be careful where your brush goes. Because once it's there, it's there. Okay, now we have purple. Let's see what the purple is. It looks still very red, not very bluish. You might expect a little more bluish if you've got a quinacridone magenta there. But this, I would say this is purple. If you said, give me a purple color, a basic purple color, this would be purple. Look at that color, my goodness. Oh, it is just fantastic. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Okay, what are we up to next? Cerise. Whoa. I almost had a flower that looked like this. What was it? I want to say it was a vining flower, a clematis. So I guess you could use this right out of the tube, as they say. Right out of the pan without mixing, but mixing always makes it more rich. Magnesium brown. This is going to be an opaque one, I'm sure. Almost like ochre. The ochre wasn't too strong. This one is a little stronger. I've got to watch my camera because I think I'm in danger of losing you again. Wish I had a little alarm on it, a little beepy thing or something that told me when I was, like when cars back up, that told me when I was out of focus or out of view. Okay, brown ochre. This is an interesting color. Wow, almost like a deep olive green with brown in it. Let's see what happens when we lighten that up and carry it down. Wow, very muddy. Let me pull some of that up. That's a little bit too much pigment so that we can't see the page or the color. There we go. There is some kind of a bird or frog or something outside clicking. It's odd. Okay, phthalo turquoise. Is it phthalo turquoise in... now I can't remember the name of the paint. Daniel Smith that I'm thinking of, that's just to die for. Oh, some of these colors are just amazing. I think that must be a frog outside making that noise. I don't know if you can hear it on camera. Okay, next one is Brilliant Blue. Let's see. Well, it sure is brilliant. Almost like a periwinkle looking color, isn't it? Just bringing that right down there. And manganese blue is the next one. Again, almost similar. What a strange layout for these pigments. They just kind of don't make any sense in some respects. They were doing good with the yellows and the oranges, But now we're getting into some very strange orders. I don't know. It's okay. Hey, listen, I'm happy with the paints. Permanent blue. This has got to be a real dark. Whoa, it is. Almost like a midnight type blue. Oh, that could be nice for night skies. Painting night skies. I'm thinking not of a real nature, more of a fantasy nature or a mixed media type thing. And we've only got a few colors left. All right, let's get on to these. This is light violet. Let's get some water in there. I don't think I might have skipped that one when I activated them. That is really violet, wow. So yeah, I guess purple would have more of the pinkish reddish tone to it, whereas this might have more bluish to it. This is more like a quinacridone. I'm sorry, what am I thinking of? You know what I'm thinking of. Not a manganese violet, dear. I'll think of it later when the camera's off. Dioxazine. I knew there was an X or that kind of sound in it. Okay, let's see. Here's violet. Maybe this is more like a dioxazine. I spoke too soon. Wow, that's a rich color, isn't it? That seems a little more bluish. Oh, wow. Yeah, that might be more of a dioxazine. Either way, very pleased. These are very, very nice. You know, I usually like to, the OCD in me likes to get a perfect swatch where it goes evenly from dark to light. But look at some of these interesting back blooms I got on these. Very interesting. And we only have one left. It's the black. So this is deep black. And let me try to do this without touching the other colors that I've already swatched and making a total mess of it. Well, while I'm wrapping this up, what can I say? I'm hard pressed to find something I'm not happy with, except the order of the colors. That's the only thing I can complain about. They feel nice, very nice. They wet very easily, similar to like a Schmenka from a pan. Very, very nice feel to them. Beautiful, vibrant colors. Look at those colors. I'll give you a close-up of those so you can see them. In case I missed them earlier when I was going too far down on the page and didn't know I was going down on the page. The sheen on the metallics, you can see it a little bit. You can see it a little bit. I would think that would be more of a glaze. You would use it as a glaze. But look at those colors all together. What a nice set. Very, very pleased with this. Very pleased. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I am definitely going to have some fun playing with all these colors and getting to know the palette that this comprises. I hope you enjoyed the swatching. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you like my content. Make sure you keep yourselves busy doing creative things. Do something creative this week, and I'll see you next time.